I think I'm going to speak briefly. I just have a few things to say, and then I'll open it up for questions because I'm sure that's kind of where I want the conversation to go. What you guys, what are on your minds? A little bit about myself. Like Scott said, I lived all over the country, from Baltimore, Maryland to Portland, Oregon, and everywhere in between. My dad was a basketball coach, sometimes successful, sometimes unsuccessful, and so either time we moved. So we lived in Texas, Kansas, all over. He's actually my dad was originally from Hitchcock. They pulled him off the farm to go be an athlete, not a student athlete, at Huron College, and he ended up getting through. So that was his alma mater, and when that job opened, we moved there my senior year. And so that's kind of how I ended up. I went to Huron College Huron University at the time for a while. My dad and Dave Boots happened to be really good friends, and I ended up transferring there my senior year. Graduated from the university, have 2 degrees from there, and up until July, I actually worked there. So I met my wife at the University of South Dakota. She's a physician's assistant that works in urology at Dakota Dunes. We have 2 kids, a 3.5-year-old daughter, Collins, and a 1 and I guess it would be 2 months now, year-old son, Kellen. So we reside in Vermillion, way on the west side in the development behind Bunyan. So that's a little bit about myself, and I guess kind of why I took this particular job. I had a good job at USD. I had moved from coaching. I worked for Dave Boots for a number of years. There was an interim year where Joey James was the head coach, and then when Craig got hired, it was a decision time. What am I going to do? Am I going to continue to coach? Am I going to? But my wife's from Cologne, and we had set up roots in this area. I've been in Vermillion for a long time, and I guess you talk about the path and how God interferes with your life, or interferes, but it doesn't, just helps you and puts forth a plan for you. And all of a sudden, a development job opened up literally a month after we weren't retained as basketball coaches, and kind of just veered a path from coaching into administration. So I ended up getting in the development role at USD. Moved up the ladder and ended as assistant athletic director when I was done. And then this job kind of came about. I guess the reason why I was interested is just the proximity to Vermillion. You always kind of keep an eye on Yankton and what's going on in Mount Marty. Part of what we did was the Yankton Howling Pack chapter got started during my time at USD in development, and you could just see the passion from the people in Yankton. It was like, holy smokes, these people are sports crazy. I mean, they're all about it. They were all in. The events we had, it was really good. So it was that kind of made it a no-brainer. A couple other things, the idea that Chuck Iverson was going to stay on was a huge bonus for me. Just 26 years, I think it was, Chuck, that they'd been running the shop, and that he was staying on, and we'd be able to rely on him for the things that he had done, and just knowing him and just knowing Chuck and for all that he stands for and the person that he was a huge bonus for me. So. And then the other thing is just the direction the college is going. Hiring President Mark Long, who I think most of you heard. I don't know if he spoke to this body, but if you have heard him speak, he's very impressive. He's very forward-thinking. He wants to get out in front of things. He wants to be progressive. I think that's things that, as Chuck is kind of in our conversation about where the college was at to where it's going, I think that's some of the things that have been welcomed. And Chuck and I have talked long and hard about that, and that we're moving in the right direction. So those are some of the reasons why I took the job. I think, kind of Chuck said to talk a little bit about my vision for what we're doing. We want to be competitive across the GPAC, and I know that kind of sounds funny because some of our programs haven't been as competitive as a lot of us would like. I mean, I don't know what the number is of teams that didn't win a GPAC game last year, including men's basketball. And so now it is, what can we do between our staff and the coaches? What can we do to get competitive? I know scholarships is a huge part. Are we scholarshiping appropriately? Are we giving our coaches the fair opportunity to go out and recruit the caliber of athlete that they need to do? So we're doing those things. I think, like I said, I keep using Chuck as a historical reference, but from the last 2 years, he said we've just went leaps and bounds further as far as what we're offering student athletes to come here. So we need that to continue. We need that to continue even further, push that even further, so we can recruit the better players that seem to want to go to Dakota Wesleyan, for example, now. So we need to be competitive with our peer institutions. You know, and then it's just, you know, I kind of tell our coaches this. I totally believe in leading from behind. I want each coach to have the autonomy, the individuality, the freedom to work. We'll resource them. We'll do whatever they ask of us, but we're relying on them to be the leaders of the basketball program, or the baseball program, or the softball program. I know a little bit about basketball, but that was a lot of years ago, and now it's turning it over and letting them be the ones that lead their programs and do the best they can. And if they need resources, they need help, if they need anything, we'll be there to help them and back them up. I think, you know, part of that also kind of leading from behind and kind of leading in the background is the fundraising piece. I think that's a large part of what formed me, and why, you know, kind of the reason why probably I was hired for the job was what we had done at USD, and some of the amount of money that we raised and the things that we were able to do. And so, you know, we need some additional facilities. I have a Lancer Club brochure here, and I have some more there. You know, the Lancer Club needs to grow. I mean, I think it's at 200 members now, and for I think it's $150. You can join the Lancer Club and get a couple passes to every men's and women's basketball game. So it's incredibly affordable. Where I think we're at 200 members now, and you know, it needs to grow to 300, 400, 500. That's the annual fund is the lifeblood of any athletic organization. I think you could see the growth of at USD between the capital projects that happen to the arenas and those kinds of things, but also the increase in the annual fund and what the Howling Pact did. I mean, it's up near $1.4 million at the same time that these capital projects were going. So they're not mutually exclusive. They can operate together, and oftentimes in a good campaign they will. So Lancer Club brochures, I have some if you want to sign up. I would ask that everybody sign up, be a supporter of our athletes. We'll talk about the facilities. You know, the simple arena needs to be upgraded. I think that's no secret. You know, kids these days as we start to recruit a higher level student athlete, have expectations, and they have expectations of what a locker room is going to look like. You know, what a coach's office look like, what a weight room is going to look like. It's the kind of things that are going to allow us to either, you know, stay at the bottom of the conference, move to the middle, or move to the top. It just kind of depends on you know, how we do with our particular facilities. It's the same conversation that we would have had 10 years ago, 8 years ago, 5 years ago at USD, that we needed to improve our facilities in order for us to move forward. And I think, as you've seen with the success of USD being as close as it is to Yankton, open a new arena, open a new weight room, you know, enhancements to the football program and such, and all of a sudden what's happened to the football program, what's happened to men's and women's basketball, what's happened to the track. I mean, you could say that it's a coincidence, but it's really not. I mean, it's really that those student athletes are better, and they're recruiting a better quality student athlete. A lot of it is, you know, you used to continue in the great education piece that we have at Mount Marty as well, and then the addition of the great facilities. So I think, you know, just getting out, and I think there's people ask, well, what, and I, you know, see Jeff, people ask on the search committee, what's the key to fundraising? And there is none. I mean, there is no secret sauce to fundraising. Just roll your sleeves up and go to work. Get out and see people and find people that have shared values and vision and goals in Mount Marty, and see the growth and the potential like we do, like I do, like Chuck does. And as we continue to go, as some of these student athletes that are starting to commit to Mount Marty continue to go, starting to share those same things. So, you know, and I guess I'll finish with, you know, I think it's kind of interesting in the last two and a half months, and even kind of like, you know, why'd you take this job and whatever, and there's a lot of skepticism, I would say, about Mount Marty. You know, whether it's, we've been talking about a field house for 10 years or whatever, you know, whatever we continue to talk about. You know, and I will say, that was, like I said, I graduated USD in 2002, and I worked there until July. And those same things that you would never be, so same skepticism and fear and all the things that kind of the negativity of, you'll never be competitive in Division I. You're never going to have an arena. You're never going to have all of this kind of stuff. Those were the same things we heard every year that I was at USD. And then all of a sudden it was just like we rolled up our sleeves, we went to work, and we got it done. And I think those similar things can happen at Mount Marty. I know the conversations are working that way, you know, towards field house, towards simple arena upgrades, towards enhancing our sports programs and getting them more competitive. So I see a lot of similarities, and I think we're moving in the right direction.